The current election is pitting spouses and significant others against one another, especially when you consider relationships where the man votes for one candidate and the woman votes for another. Now, interestingly enough, there was a trend known as the sure honey trend in previous elections. And in those elections, it was oftentimes thought by the males in these heterosexual relationships that their female significant other would absolutely vote for the same candidate as them. And oftentimes the woman thought very differently, which is why you have that name, the sure honey pattern, right? Well, it turns out that this election has kind of turned that pattern on its head. Now, Celinda Lake, who is a Democratic pollster, says that guys just assume who their wives are voting for. And I think some women go, sure, honey, but then go vote for someone else. Now, during the last election cycle in 2012, 72% of men said partners would vote for the same candidate, and only 49% of women felt the same way. But now things are different. It appears that people backing Clinton are remarkably confident that they didn't marry someone who could vote for Trump, while Trump voters aren't so sure their spouses won't vote for Clinton. Of poll takers who said their spouses are voting for a different candidate this year, just about half said the same was true for the 2012 election. So let me help you guys kind of dissect that a little bit. Essentially, what's happening now is men are more likely to vote for Donald Trump. Women are obviously more likely to vote for Hillary Clinton for various reasons. Even Republican women are more likely to vote for Hillary Clinton. So as a result, what's happening now is men in the relationship are realizing like, I don't know if my wife or my girlfriend is open to voting for Trump. And then the women are like, there's no way the person I married would have the audacity to vote for Trump. So it's kind of flipping around. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. So, and it turns out that this phenomenon is, of course, driven by not only the fact that there's a woman candidate, which is historic. We've never had a major presidential candidate before who was a woman, but more driven by people's distaste for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So in the past, like you pointed out, men would assume that their partners are for the same candidate, whereas women were like, that's not really that true, right? 72%, they're going to vote my way.
Yeah.
But only 49% actually voted their way.
Yeah.
So, but now this time around, women are kind of flipping the tables and going, no. You can't be for Trump.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And it'll be very interesting to see what the result is because, everybody always talks about how well Hillary Clinton is doing among women. True enough. What I don't think people talk about enough is how well Donald Trump is doing among men.
Yeah, he's doing well among men.
And I find that to be kind of as Trump would say, it's sad. Sad. It's a sad proposition. In one poll I saw, and now this admittedly was at least 6 weeks ago, but probably the numbers are somewhat similar today, he was winning white males by over 30 points.
It's amazing.
That's a giant margin. So it's easy to talk about how women are voting for Hillary Clinton. It makes people a little bit uncomfortable to talk about what a giant lead Donald Trump has among men. And so will women actually affect their husband's vote? Well, apparently men haven't been affecting women's vote nearly as much as they thought they were.
Right.
So maybe it'll go the reverse this time, which actually would be good news for Donald Trump.
I literally could not be with someone who supported Donald Trump. I mean that. In fact, there are people I know who will kind of start telling me that they're leaning towards supporting him, and I try to shut them up immediately because I look down at people who support Trump. I do. I look down at them. I think that they're dumb. Keeping it real, I think that you are incredibly dumb if you support Donald Trump, okay? Mm-hmm. So I couldn't be with a guy that I thought was stupid.
Yeah, well, look, this is the problem with the nature of our politics. It's not just that we disagree. So we don't think that if you have conservative political positions that you're dumb.
No, I don't. I mean, people disagree with me all the time, and it's differences in opinions, differences in life experiences. That's totally fine. I mean, there have been, situations in the past, like let's say the very last presidential election. I knew people that supported Mitt Romney, and we respectfully disagreed, and the key word there is respectfully, right? But now we have a candidate who openly talks about how much he hates Mexicans, how much he wants to deport all of them, how much he hates Muslims, and how he doesn't want to allow any of them into the country, how he would punish women for getting abortions. Pretty much everything that I would despise about a person, he has revealed about himself, right? So yeah, I despise Donald Trump, and if someone feels like his positions reflect theirs, well, then I don't want anything to do with them.
So when Mitt Romney says, let's lower taxes on the rich, we have a policy difference there, and I think he's being greedy, but nobody thinks Mitt Romney's stupid.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you mentioned all the despicable positions Donald Trump has. I think the bigger issue, and why I begin to lose respect for some people who support Trump, is because how could you not see how stupid he is?
Exactly.
So it's one thing to say, well, I too am worried about immigration, whether that's a real thing or coded language for I don't like Latinos. Mm-hmm. I too am worried about terrorism being exported into the country, which everybody is if that was the real issue, but is usually coded language for I'm not going to let Muslims in because I don't like Muslims, which, by the way, again, Trump dropped the coded language. Mm-hmm. So you don't have that excuse anymore. It's not at all coded. He said it. So to me, the more troubling part is he says things like he did last night in the town hall. I'm stuck on it because I can't believe that any adult would say this, let alone a person running for president. He says something to the effect that we're losing jobs like babies. What does that mean? That is such a ridiculous and foolish thing to say. Babies don't lose jobs. Who talks like that? I mean, and it goes on and on. Everything he says doesn't make any sense. He contradicts himself every time. He talks like a child. It's actually proven out. He has the vocabulary of a third grader. So, yeah, if you think that guy is brilliant, it's not a matter of policy disagreements. It's a matter of, I got to really question your intelligence. If you say, no, I get it. He's a dummy, like Bush was a dummy. Mm-hmm. But I like lower tax cuts, right? I mean, I like lower taxes. And I like, I don't even know what you like about Trump because his positions change all the time. So I'm not sure which of those positions you like. All right, you say, you know what? Hey, I don't like Mexicans and Muslims either. Okay? Mm-hmm. And I know the guy's a dumbass, but as long as he's willing to discriminate, I like him. At least that's intellectually honest. But if you think that Donald Trump is a brilliant guy, then I'm with Anna. It's tough to have a relationship with someone who thinks Donald Trump is smart. I just don't that's a tough thing to connect to.
Also, I just feel like if you're easily manipulated by someone who has the vocabulary of a third grader, then you have to question your own intelligence, right? People vote against their best interests all the time, but the reason why they do that is because you'll have a pretty savvy politician who knows the right things to say, knows how to attack the right way. Like Donald Trump doesn't even know the right things to say. He speaks like a child and people eat it up. I could not be with someone who supported Donald Trump.
Okay, so last thing on this. He applied for a loan with Deutsche Bank back in 2004. He said he was worth $3.5 billion. Deutsche Bank did the math. They're like, not remotely true. If we gave you every benefit of the doubt, you're still well under $1 billion. You're not a billionaire, so it's not true. Because it's a loan application, you can't fib it. Yeah. In 2007, in a deposition describing that, they said, what the hell did you base the $3.5 billion on? He said, quote, my own feelings and my psychology. Come on, really, you're going to support that? But what's amazing and really, really sad is that we've got nearly half the country now. He's leading in the last CNN poll. Nearly half the country going, that's my boy.
And half the country is either stupid or just really hateful and agrees with his, bigotry. That's it. They fall under two camps.
And so that's where we are, man. And as a whole country, we're having a problem with our marriage, with our relationship. So I hope we straighten it out because this divorce will be ugly. You get hours of more content if you're a TYT member.
Somebody go get a six-pack.
And let's all enjoy it together. TYTnetwork.com/join.